right, ladies and gentlemen, we have in the house with us another Detroit bass player, a special Detroit bass player. We're going to talk about that in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. David Winans II. What's going on, bro?
Nothing much. How you doing, Art?
I'm all right. Of course, always have my sidekick Reggie Canty with me. Another Detroit bass player, and over there we got a Detroit keyboard player, my brother Robert Williams, and we got another Detroit bass player. What's your name, buddy?
Andrew Murray.
Andrew Murray. We're going to talk to you a little bit too in a minute, but I want to concentrate on the man, the legend, Mr. David Winans. For those of you who don't know this cat, wow, where do I start? First of all, he's gospel royalty. He comes from the #1 family in gospel, the dynasty, the Winans, right?
Yes.
And you're the older brother of the whole Winans clan.
Yes, I am.
Now, of course, we've been loving the gospel music from your family, and you. Who are some of the family members that we should all know?
Well, you know the Winans, which are the 4 under me.
Uh-huh.
And then I think 5th would be Daniel, who's his own entity himself. Then the 6th and 7th, the 7th and 6th, 7th and 8th person would be BB and Cece.
Right.
And then you have my baby sisters, Deborah and Angelique, who's a great pianist in her own way.
Okay. And y'all been doing the gospel thing for the longest, but something about you do more than just gospel. Let me just back up. First of all, you just played us in, and I noticed that you wearing a glove. What's up with the glove, man? What's happening with that?
Well, I came upon this accidentally. After switching from guitar to bass, I had an incident where I was doing a gig and I cut my finger. So I had wrapped a Band-Aid around it, and even though you do that, it doesn't help because the heat and friction from the strings took the Band-Aid off and melt the glue or whatever goes on there. So to finish the gig, I came across this glove, and it stopped the bleeding and all that stuff. And plus, it worked as a good sweatband.
Mm-hmm.
Then practicing with it, I've noticed that I can get different tone melodies out of it that I couldn't get with straight fingers. Number one is like you can get an upright sound.
Okay.
And it cuts down on the friction and the wear on callousing on your fingers. Thus, I'm trying to bring this to the market now as the bass glove.
As the bass glove. Now, what is it? Special material or?
Yes, it's like an Egyptian cotton.
So it makes
it's very
a difference.
Thin. Yes, it's very, instead of being thick, where you can still like move around.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't like.
It's got good muting quality still.
Yes, and it mutes, and it still cuts through on the harmonics.
Okay.
So it's very advantageous. I believe if it's to market the right way, any young players that come up, they'll be able to like save their fingers from callousing.
Okay.
Because as you know, the longer you play, the more your hands get torn up.
Yeah, eventually.
Plus, it also cuts down on string wear.
Oh, okay.
Stops the sweat and stuff from eroding into the strings themselves.
Oh, okay, good. Now, so I want to back up a little bit. When did you start playing bass, and why?
Well, initially I played bass with my brothers when we were called the Winans. We were like a quartet, that's quartet, and I used to play bass and sing with them before I switched to guitar. And then with the family, I played basically lead guitar for years with them, and brought more of a rock element towards the gospel music. I think I got kicked out of the band a couple of times.
You got kicked out of your own family's band?
Yeah, a couple of times because I was like rocking. It wasn't like they wanted Jimmy Page playing.
Right.
But I think I also influenced a couple guitarists like Michael Wright. If you know Michael Wright, he used to play with the Clark sisters.
Okay.
Guitars.
So, okay. Well, why did you pick the bass up in the first place, though?
I picked it up because. Why did I pick it up? That's a good question. Well, I was trying to play as many instruments as I could at the time. I used to play flute and viola and violin. And I'm not more classically trained than anybody else in the family. We also had keyboards all the time. And at church, sometimes you needed a bass player and guitarist. I would switch off on that and drums.
So that's why. But you.
But I was basically really a strong guitar player.
Okay, but it looked like you've been playing the bass through the whole, all the way from back then to now, right?
Well, it says you got 4 strings, you go to 6, you graduate. No, I'm not that apt on 5 string. That bottom B messes with me a lot.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of bass players
were more used to guitar, so when I went back to bass, it took a bit getting used to. But I found this Schecter, which is almost in the same dimensions as the Fender Jazz, but not as heavy. I played a Les Paul for years, and that like killed my shoulder.
It did.
I didn't know that then, but now I'm regretting it.
Okay, well, one of the other questions I always ask Detroit bass players is, did you have any influences as bass players, or just name some of the guys you like on bass?
Yes, when I was in high school, I played a little guitar in stage band, but Earl Clue was the guitar player. So that really didn't work out. But as bassists, a few bass players I knew growing up in high school, Reggie McBride was one of my favorites.
Oh, that's my buddy, man.
Yeah.
Me and him grew up together.
Okay, and you know Reggie. So Reggie really influenced me.
Another Detroit bass player.
Yes, very.
Living in
From Mumford.
L.A. or somewhere.
Yes. Well, Reggie went on to do Merv Griffin and a whole lot of other things. I really liked Yako. Verdine White, we talked about earlier. Of course, I'd be stupid not to say James Jamerson.
James Jamerson was
the guy. He would do stuff that was totally, if you listen to the old Motown things, it was like anti-approach of the bass. And his son, James Jamerson Jr., Kern Brantley, one of my favorite guys.
Another Detroit bass player he's coming back soon. He's going to do an interview with us.
And there's a couple of others from my buddies from overseas. Ray Shulman, he used to be in a group called Gentle Giant. Very innovative bass lines. There's Sting, and of course Sir Paul McCartney.
One of the most melodic bassists.
Very, very.
I love his stuff.
Yes, sir. And that's about it, I think.
Okay, well,
if I forgot anybody, Don, you know who you are.
Now, who's the guy filling in for you?
Oh, that was my buddy Don Johnson from. I'm not even going to think I knew which high school he went to, but Don Johnson was one of the great bass players out there too.
He kind of fills in for you when you
yes, he did.
When you leave and go time.
I had to bring him out of retirement.
Okay, that's cool.
But that's good. Ralph Armstrong was another one from my school.
Another Detroit bass player.
You know what he's talking about.
So, and then I was a couple of bass VO players, upright players. There was a Lenny Williams.
Okay.
And Ralph played great upright.
Still does.
Let's see, there was another one, Buster Williams.
All of these Detroit bass players?
No, Buster I think is out of New York.
Oh, okay.
But everyone else prior I named are from Detroit. And then there was Tony Green too.
T-Money?
T-Money.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a couple of those guys we already got an interview, and a couple of them are playing.
Yes, and another one you should probably interview would be Fred Hammond.
Oh, you know we got to get Fred Hammond.
Fred used to play bass with the Winans.
Right.
At one time, before commission. So.
Okay.
Fred's a great bass player.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, so talk about some of the work you did. Now I try to do a little reconnaissance and research on everybody, and looking at your resume or discography, I don't know how to pronounce it because I don't have one myself. But some interesting people other than your family that you work with. You work with some interesting people. What's some of the people you work with? And
well, I was fortunate to meet Quincy when my brothers were working with Michael Jackson on Man in the Mirror.
Okay.
And out of that clique of people, there was like Alex Acuna. I worked with Alex.
Now he was the percussion player. I know him for Weather Report.
Yes.
That's who you used to work with.
Yes. Weather Report and a whole bunch of other people. Paulino DaCosta is another one. And there was a little clique in Los Angeles and Studio City of players that would come out, like Steve Lukather and the Page brothers, Marty and Vacaros, and Bill Maxwell was another good influence. Bill Maxwell is the drummer and producer for group called Cornea, and God, I'd be amiss to not mention Abe Laboriel.
Oh, yeah.
Some other people you work with, good.
And Abe was a great bass player. And I loved Abe because to take lessons from Abe, you had to like have at least 4 years of flamenco guitar. I never really understood that until I switched back to bass. So those are some of the influences.
Okay, some of the people you worked with, what you up to now, man? What you been doing lately? But by the way, congratulations! I hear that you're nominated.
Yeah.
In the Detroit Music Awards for what's the category?
Outstanding Christian recording.
Outstanding Christian recording.
Called Find the Water.
Find the Water?
Yeah.
Okay, so folks, if we put this up in town, why don't you go vote for this fine bass player and musician? And what else are you currently doing right now these days?
Well, I'm working on a second Pie album. Pie is my progressive rock group. And I'm getting ready to go into the studio to do a couple of things with a lady named Tasha Owens and Mike Smith.
Who is this guy sitting
This
next
is
to you?
Andrew Murray. He's one of my special people coming up, great bassist. He has a band called The Toys, which is a two-piece band. And he's the bassman. Plays great stand-up and
a singer as well.
oh, he's a good singer. A great singer.
I saw you had two basses. What you got, the NS?
No, I went to it's a Stag. It was only about $600. It was more kind of like an introductory stand-up bass because I play electric, and I know a lot of people go to fretless bass, and I thought, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go big and go to upright. But the cheapest upright full body you can get is about $3,000, and I don't have that budget, so it was the best thing for me, and it gives me the same feel for less price.
So David likes to call you one of his proteges, right?
Yeah, that's what I like to call him.
That's cool. We'll talk a little bit more with him in just a second. Now, right now, what I was going to say, the name of your band is called David Winans Pie.
As in the number pi.
But it kind of looks almost like the Roman numeral 2, which could also stand for David Winans II.
Yes, it kind of is an inside, pardon the pun, inside kind of thing going. But it seems like I always end up with I had a band in Los Angeles, for instance, and it was a progressive rock band, and I went for a word that nobody ever had. It was called Xeria, started with an X, so I'm sort of into that thing, outside of being in some numerology. But my signature is David Winans II, and I was in a band called Damone Wisp, and it seemed like every band I was in had DW in it. So then after Damone Wisp, I had David Winans Project out in Los Angeles. So this time around, I wanted to keep the P, which was short for DWP. So I wanted to keep the P, and like I said, I was into the mathematical. Pi was always one of my favorite numbers, plus it was so irrational.
Okay. And for you to be a part of the #1 gospel family in these parts of the world, the dynasty, the Winans, all them characters in gospel, you playing rock music. What's up with that?
Well, I always did.
You always did?
I always did. I was the one sneaking Jeff Beck albums into the house when everything else was like Shirley Caesar and Matty Moss Clark. And thus, yeah, I got that little moniker.
So, and tonight we're in a place called
Fireside Inn.
Fireside Inn. It used to be called the 00.
Yes. And I run up open mic here where, matter of fact, that's how I met some of the members in Pi. It's from running the open mic here because I get a lot of talent that comes through here. And on any given night, if everybody showed up, it'd be freaking amazing.
Right. So yeah, we can get that good. But check this out. So every Tuesday night, you hold a jam session open mic and it doesn't matter what type of music.
No, it doesn't at all.
And you also say that.
Well, we kind of shy away from metallic punk.
Okay.
Tearing up equipment type of stuff. Yes.
But you say that the whole band can come and show up, and
yes.
I've been up here to see you
Yes, I know you accidentally had to fill in my whole night. Because I think I got very upset at someone that night.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I came to sit in for this man back in July and came to meet him. My brother introduced me to him, and I came to meet him. And I sit in for one song. I thought I wound up sitting in the whole second half of the show.
I meant to thank you for that.
Well, it was actually an honor, you know, sitting in for a legend like that. So y'all say I got a resume too now.
Yeah.
So they can come up here every Tuesday night, bring the whole band.
Bring your whole band, bring just a singer. I'm also trying to start, if you got some comedic ability, to open up, because sometimes it takes some players, you know, a little bit to warm up. So, yes, anybody, singers, players, groups, please come up here. It's out in Grand River and 7 Mile Road. It's called the Fireside Inn. Great environment, and you'll meet some great players. Last week we had we had about 6 or 7 great bands here last week. James Glass Band, who's a great blues player, plays a Lucille model, B.B. King model guitar. And we had a band called the Glass Band. I guess it was Glass Night. And who else we had? What's Daniel's last name?
Jackie
Daniel Jackie, upcoming guitarist. And I think we had, Alina Kirkoitis, who's in a band called No Quarter, great vocalist. And some of the No Quarter band has been up here.
Good. Well, you know what? Another place I've seen to see you frequently or occasionally is the Detroit Bass Players Facebook page. Now, how did you wind up getting on that?
I got on there. I was, Craig Sconey.
The founder of the page.
Yes, Craig Sconey, who used to be in a band when I ran open mics at Bumpers. He was in a band I think called the Shop Rats. His drummer, who played with Pie for a minute, introduced me to Craig and found out I lived right across the street from him.
So you and Craig live on the same street?
Yes, and there's another bass player, and I don't know his name, but if you ask Craig, he'll fill you in.
So it's 3 bass players living on one street?
Yes.
Wow.
That infamous street called...
With a bass, let's just call it Bass Street.
Bass Road.
Bass Road. Wow, that is
no road.
That's a small world for for all of this to tie in like this. And man, I know you got a show coming up. Y'all about to do some things and stuff. Anything you like to say? Because sometimes I forget to ask questions that people might want to present.
I'd like to tell everyone out there that gets to see this to go to www.detroitbassplayers.com and join the gang.
Yeah, I agree.
Bases out there.
Right? Did you hear that? What's the site called?
www.detroitbassplayers.com.
Are you gonna join it?
Oh yes, sir.
And well, we got a visitor here. He's not a bass player, are you?
Not in these guys' league. No. I play mostly other things.
Oh, you play sax and stuff. Well,
yeah,
still,
I play drums too.
you still are welcome to join DetroitBassPlayers.com. And of course, Reggie, he's on there.
Oh, Mr. Canty, yes.
And my brother, you can join it, and you can join it, and you can join.
I play in the shower.
Ooh. and what happens is, on that site, all of the videos are consolidated. All the interviews I'm doing are consolidated on that site, and you could check out any one of them, and there's more to come with pros like yourself.
And the t-shirts.
They got the shirts.
I'm very sorry I missed that picture everyone took down at Hitsville, USA.
I missed it too, man.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I hate that I missed it.
Okay, yes, playing another one, because I think I was out of town when that happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, this man's got a show to do in a couple of minutes. We're going to let him do it, but could you play just a little bit of something just to take us out? Ladies and gentlemen, bass player and legend, Detroit bass player, Mr. David Winans II.